I went to the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, which is in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts. And upon graduation, had a BS degree and also a reserve commission in the Navy. And we were eligible to sit for our third mate's license or third engineer's license, depending which course we took. And I sat for my third mate's license and got that. And then the next step, of course, was we were ready for the real world, as Paul referred to it as. And I got a job with Farallines as third officer or third mate on a ship, and sailed to South Africa and East Africa, nonstop from New York to Cape Town. 17 days from New York to Cape Town. It was a beautiful trip, usually fair weather, except for the hurricane season, and nice sunny days. And it was really, I thought I died and went to heaven. I was single and well paid, and it was adventurous to go to Africa, and went on safari in Africa and did all kinds of interesting things.
When the war was over, I got out of the Navy as a gunner's mate, third class. Meanwhile, Pat had caught up to me in school. So I went back and finished my high school in the same year he was. And then after that, we went off together to the Maritime Academy at Massachusetts. And in fact, he was president of the class. He always had political tendencies. And then he sailed for, lived on a school ship for 3 years. We were the crew of the ship. And then we graduated, and Pat went with Farallines, sailing around to South and East Africa. That was their steady run. And I went with Looking Back Lines, intracoastal to the West Coast and back, with a couple of trips to Korea in between during the Korean War.
When I came home one trip, my father said, "Hey, when are you going to apply for active duty in the Navy? There's a war in Korea." And translated, that meant get in there and apply. So I did. I went into 90 Church Street and applied for active duty and put in for the Pacific Fleet. I had never sailed in the Pacific, and it was an experience I wanted to have. So I got that and went to Korea for 2 years, Task Force 77, which consisted of a battleship in those days, and an aircraft carrier, several destroyers, and supply ships. I was on one of the supply ships, ammunition ships, tankers, oilers they call them in the Navy. And I enjoyed that thoroughly. So I was cut out to be in the Navy, and that's why I went in. After my 2 years, I went back with Farallines.
And Pat did 2 years in the Navy because he hadn't done his time yet. And then he decided to study law. He did about 7 years at sea, helped put himself through law school. And because he had some GI Bill coming too.
Then I went to law school, Washington and Lee University, where my father went. Admiralty. That is a field of law concerning itself with the carriage of goods at sea on merchant ships, freighters you'd call them, I guess. And it concerns with all the international law of the sea, and they call them admiralty lawyers. Proctors in Admiralty is the official title. And I went with an admiralty firm in New York City, yes. I thought it would be the melding of two interests, the law and the sea. I stayed there for 2 years, and then I had an opportunity to go to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, which I leapt at. Having been raised in that atmosphere as a child, I had a great affection for the District Attorney's Office. And I was an assistant district attorney in Suffolk County for about 12 years, and then I had the good fortune of running for and being elected district attorney of Suffolk County. And I served 3 terms. I was the first DA to have a 4-year term. They changed the term, obviously. And so I served 3 terms and then retired. And then I had the opportunity to run for Supreme Court, and I did that. And I served 1 term and retired at age 76.
But I stayed at sea for 33 years. And then I retired and went on active duty in the Navy as a ship handling instructor down in Little Creek, Virginia.